So I know that we kind of very, very briefly talked about it inside of your syllabus, which I have pulled up in front of me right now. And so inside of the project, it pretty much just gives you an outline for how many points it is, what the kind of component parts to it of, and now I'm going to kind of get a little bit more in depth. So the assignment altogether is worth 210 points. So you have 150 points for the completed project, 30 points for 2 practice posts that you're going to submit as to get feedback on before your big assignment, 10 points for your topic submission to me, and then I'm also going to have you guys turn in an annotated bibliography submission, which is worth 20 points. And so we'll kind of talk about what an annotated bib is and where you can find information at for that inside of the post for the library. So I have a post up where I go through how to use the components for a library and kind of how you can use it as a research project for any kind of research project, not just this one. You can use it for any other class too. And so I really want you guys to be able to hone in on those skills, figuring out what a really good source is and figuring out what a good primary source is too. And so we'll talk about all of those things in separate videos. So I'm going to have a primary and a secondary source video. Then I'm also going to have a video about the library so you guys don't have to watch really long videos just to get these small snippets of information. Okay, so let us move into your actual Instagram assignment outline. So here is the Instagram assignment, all right? So what essentially it asks you to do is it asks you to come up with a topic that you are going to kind of become like a micro expert on. And so I said inside of your topic submission that I don't want to see anything about presidents. I don't want to see anything about the Salem witch trials or things like the Constitution. I really want you guys to try to find something that interests you in your daily lives and then research it. Like if sports interest you, find something about sports before 1877, right? If cooking interests you, find something about kitchens or kitchen tools or the invention of the Franklin stove or something like that. Find something that interests you and that you can kind of build your own interests on and kind of get a feel for that thing. So me personally, I research the intersection of science and capitalism in colonial America. And so I would research something like, what does a merchant do? Or what would a nursery look like a plant nursery look like inside of the colonial era, right? And so these are topics that I would take deep dives into and I would learn a lot about it. And then I would present it as this kind of cohesive thing, right? And so the reason why I want you guys to do this project is because, I put the why do you have to do this here, is because I want you guys to be putting something out there that would normally just go to me. Normally you do write a research paper and you submit it to your professor, and who else reads it? Absolutely no one, right? It's a project just for you to make something just to hand to me. And not only do I feel like that is totally a waste of you guys' potential, but I think it also really doesn't do any service to the community at large. And I think that by doing a project like this, where we're actually taking what digital historians and historians do every day and putting it on a social media platform like Instagram, we're actually contributing to a community of knowledge rather than cat videos, right? And so this is really what I want you guys to be doing. And this is why I signed this project. And it's not just to do some kind of stupid digital something, right? But it's a really simple program. Everyone can put it on their cell phones. Or a tablet, some kind of technology source where you can upload photos. Unfortunately, I do not believe that Instagram still lets you put things up on the computer. So I do have an option for you if you do not have something that you can download Instagram on to be able to upload your assignment, all right? But you can message me and I will be more than happy to talk to you about the supplementary thing that you can do instead of using the actual Instagram site. But number one, I want you to try to go for it first and foremost, all right? So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be picking a topic, all right? On a key term, a figure, your interest, right? Anything that you think is going to be interesting, right? And then I want you to kind of create this platform that's going to kind of highlight your topic, right? And so the goals of the assignment are to create an Instagram account for a relative key term, figure, or topics U.S. history to 1877. I am going to be really, really hard on this 1877 line. I don't want anybody going past it, all right? You need to be able to find at least 20 images that embody a historical narrative, all right? And so by that, I mean, you only need 15 posts for the entire project, but I want some of your posts to be multiple images, where you can kind of like talk about correlations and connections to them inside of that one post. And then also I'd like you guys to be doing stories as well, where you have things like vlogs, you do where you do your vlogs and like you're adding like relevant information to the kind of header like you would on a regular Instagram page, right? Where you're the authority on this subject and you can tell people where you learned this or kind of like say what you kind of found out or what your thesis statement was all together, right? So I want it to be really kind of an interactive experience. But first and foremost, this is a research assignment, right? I want you to be spending 80% of your time researching, writing, interpreting, and choosing what your content is going to be for your posts. And your actual posting should take much less time, about 20% of your total project time. And I know that really seems like a lot and not a lot at the same time, but keep in mind, you guys need to be spending a lot of time doing really good research, finding really, really good sources, because your sources is something that you're going to be graded on. And I don't want to see anything that even remotely resembles something like encyclopedia.com or Wikipedia or, you know, my Bob friend George Washington's brother.org, right? I don't want to see any of these weirdo sites. I only want to see peer-reviewed journals and books, all right? That's what I want to see. If you find a documentary from like PBS or a reputable source, or like Nova or something like that, feel free to use those for sure. Those are definitely reputable, all right? But this is a research assignment, so make sure you are doing your research accordingly in that manner, all right? Because you are going to need to turn in your sources to me, and you are going to need to cite your sources kind of loosely inside of your project, right? So this project has a couple steps, right? So the first step is going to be choose your subject or your key term. Your second step is going to be research. Your third step is going to be organize your ideas. Your fourth step is going to be to write even before you ever make a post, right? Then you're going to choose your images and post. Then you want to worry about these kinds of other things like a length requirement, okay? So first you're going to be doing your choice, then you're going to be researching, then you're going to be creating mind maps, coming up with your ideas, organizing them, writing, and then just kind of copy and paste onto your post, all right? So you've done all the work that you need to do on a computer before you ever have to make a post, okay? So when you're thinking about your subject or key term, like I said, it needs to be approved by me. And so this is why I have you guys turn in this, turn in at the end of your module 2, what you think that your topic is going to be. And I want you to turn in kind of this key topic idea and then also a sentence about how you're going to be situating that topic, all right? And so that's worth 10 points. So make sure you guys get that in. Step 2, research. You need at least 5 primary sources, and I say at least 5 secondary sources. This should not say up to, it should say at least 5 secondary sources, and you have to cite them in your captions. You need at least 1 direct quote or reference to a primary source in at least 10 of your posts. And you need to have most of your posts need to have primary and secondary sources combined, all right? I want to see, like, you need to have at least a citation for a secondary source inside of every single one of your posts. I am going to have you guys on your bibliography turn in at least 6 sources to me, and so you already have 6 sources. So like this should even be like the easy and even easier minimum because you've already done the work of 6 already, all right? So then once you find all your research, you think you've collected enough information, you're ready to go, I would definitely take some time to organize your ideas, all right? And to come up with kind of 4 key pieces of information, maybe 5, just like you would a research paper or a topic, and then create a mind map to develop 4 or 5 pieces of evidence to back up each one of these ideas. And this is what is going to make up your post content. And this is why I suggest you kind of come up with like a paper before you kind of submit your posts, because that way you can come up with like a really nice, organized, well-written, cohesive idea. Because I want your posts to go in kind of like an order, right? So like your posts move from like first to last, right? And so you can kind of see an argument like moving through them because they're organized chronologically, all right? And so I have some really good examples of mind mapping videos here on the site for you, all right? Here is a really kind of skim, I think it's like a 5-minute or 3-minute long video on how to do mind maps, and they're based on colors and things like that. And then I have a more in-depth video as well, which I think is about 9 minutes long, and he does an amazing job of giving you some really, really good strategies that will help you in other classes too. And so mind mapping is a really, really great organizational thing to do for your, like, not only but this class or this project, but for your school in general. And I do it all the time, and I absolutely love it. I am not even a visual learner. I'm a doer, learner by doing, and somehow the turning it into a mind map, that kind of like visual component of doing it again, and the visual component in combination with doing it again, really just like sets it in stone for me. And so I highly recommend doing that. I normally have students turn in an example of their mind map, but because we're just doing this over the summer, I'm not going to have you guys do that because we just don't have, it's just too much to have you guys do all those tiny assignments. So step 4, you're going to take all of your evidence, all of the ideas that you organized, and you're going to write at least a paragraph for each post, all right? This is why I say that you should probably make something that looks like a paper, right? Whatever helps get it done, all right? And so I want you to make sure that each post has your supporting evidence, your primary and secondary evidence, and you need to make sure that you connect it to how it relates to your larger topic focus, right? And so make sure that you're citing everything. And if you need a reference guide for how to cite, Purdue University has a really, really good example of the Chicago Turabian style online on the Purdue OWL, the OWL. All right. And so projects that are the most successful usually have at least a single paragraph. They usually have more. All right. And they move in a very, very nice flowing topical order. All right. Telling a story just like a paper would, laying out an argument, laying out your evidence, articulating why you chose that evidence, and then kind of like making an argument that backs up your thesis statement, right? You must have a thesis statement in your first post, all right? I need to see a thesis statement. It is worth 20 points, I believe, on your final assignment, all right? So after you kind of do all these research things, I would then suggest you go and find images because you'll know a lot more about the topic, about what you can be like looking at, and these can become kind of anything. You could even use pictures of some of the primary sources that you found, right? Like paintings, newspapers, documents, archaeological evidence, any kind of material object. And I really encourage you guys to think of things like really creatively, right? Creativity is a priority, and it's actually like a really big must in this project because you guys are trying to like think outside the box here, right? You're trying to take this traditional history stuff that we do and then turn it into kind of this larger project, right?